Should I start? Okay, let's go. So, hello everyone. First of all, a very warm welcome to the 45th episode of the Vibe Live, a Hexalog. And I know you all are excited because this is the first ever time we have a very diverse personality with us. Somebody who's much more than a doctor, somebody who's going to give us pearls of wisdom about life itself. Because, yes, सुना आपने बहुत कुछ होगा, but जिया इन्होंने है. And that's what makes this episode very, very special, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome, Dr. Shilpa Bhatia, to the episode of the Vibe Live, a Hexalog.
Thank you so much. I'm deeply honored and I'll be very happy to share my journey with you.
Wonderful. So, as you all know, the Vibe, that stands for Women Inspire, Build, and Enhance, is a platform that is dedicated to fostering women's excellence. It brings together women doctors from diverse specialities to share leadership experiences, personal journeys, as well as growth and collaboration inspirations. There are four fundamental pillars of the Vibe: physical well being, mental health, professional excellence, and financial wisdom. Through various initiatives of the Vibe, this platform strives to bring together women and help them excel and create a completely different level of healthcare leadership. I'm Dr. Ritu Johari, consultant diabetologist and metabolic expert practicing in western suburbs of Mumbai. I have a diverse background with last one and a half with earlier 1.5 decades spent in pharma industry and last half a decade practicing diabetes, thyroid, and obesity. While I'm completed by our family is completed by my husband, who's an orthopedic surgeon, and our family also has a 3-year-old toddler and a teen son. Also, talking about my practice, I clinically practice, but also I enjoy my time spending in medical writing and publications as a co-founder of RFECT, which is an agency. But what brings me utmost pleasure in sharing is the foundation of this wonderful platform, The Vibe, which is all yours. And with my wonderful four women rather, who you can see magnanimously here on the screen. So, without further ado, may I ask our other partners to introduce themselves? So, Dr. Lotika, over to you.
Yeah. Hello, I am Dr. Lotika Purohit, a diabetologist and a lifestyle medicine physician practicing in Colaba for the last 3 decades or so. I'm also visiting faculty at the JJ Group of Hospitals, and I'm part of the National Executive of the Research Society for the Study of Diabetology in India. Besides this, I am partnered by my husband, Dr. Suresh Purohit, who's also more popularly known as the Sugar Doctor, and a mother to an artist and an entrepreneur. Besides that, I enjoy traveling. I like to visit new places and get new experiences. But what I enjoy doing most of all for the last about 10 months now is this Wednesday afternoon initiative that we have, wherein we get a woman achiever from the medical field who has been through a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles, and has come out, sailing smoothly through all these challenges. So we're very happy to have you here with us, Dr. Shilpa, today to hear your story. And now I hand over to Dr. Rukaiya for her introduction.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. I'm Dr. Rukia Surya Sheikh. I'm a diabetes, thyroid, and an obesity specialist. I practice in Mulund for the last 15 years. And what I love most about medicine, that it's not just about treating the numbers. It's about understanding people and being a part of their journey. Beyond the clinic, I'm a wife to a medical oncologist and a proud mother of 2 daughters. I am someone who believes in practicing what I preach. I love to work out. I love playing carom. I love traveling and this great company and meaningful conversations that we have every Wednesdays. Recently, I've also discovered the joy of painting, which brings little color and calm to my busy days. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today with all of you to learn, to share, and to grow together. So over to you, Dr. Kavita, for your introduction.
Thanks, Dr. Rukia. Good afternoon. Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste.
Namaskar, everyone. I'm Dr. Kavita Rane. I am the founder of Diabetes Total. It's a cardiometabolic clinic, which is at Rani Hospital in Chembur. I've been practicing for the past 15 plus years. I'm also the director of operations at Rani Hospital. I also have my clinic at Apollo Spectra in Deonar. So apart from diabetology, I love to draw, paint. I love sketching. I love EDM music. I love to play golf. I love spending time with my family and traveling. But other than all that, I love the learnings that I get from this Wednesday Vibe Live and star speakers such as you, ma'am. So thank you very much to be a part of this afternoon. And over to Dr. Pranjali.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Pranjali Shah, Director and Chief Diabetologist at AB Diabetes Clinic. It's in Mulund. I also handle internal operations at iHeal, which is led by my husband, who is a cornea transplant surgeon. I love treating young diabetics, live them longer and stronger. But if you don't see me in my clinic, you will see me doing hiking on weekends, playing with animals in animal shelters, or doing farming. Definitely this Wednesday we look forward, and we look forward for learning like leaders like you, ma'am. Welcome to Vibe Hexalog, and over to you, Dr. Ritu, for your segment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, girls. And of course, it gives me utmost pleasure in introducing Dr. Shilpa Bhatia. So, ma'am, with your permission, Dr. Shilpa Bhatia is a leading gynecologist, a physician, a leader, a mother, an artist, and a woman whose journey has taken her from the white coat to transplant ward and back again. Being a practicing gynec and a medical professional, she's not only built her career in medicine, but excelled while embracing leadership. She's also very interested in theater and has many dimensions of life beyond her profession. She has been the first woman secretary of the Kandivali Medical Association. But life took an unexpected turn, and that is what you will hear about today. But as a patient, as a doctor, whether it was uncertainty, vulnerability, but the fight to breathe again is what kept her persistent. So, without further ado, I would want to say that welcome to Vibe Live Hexalog, man. It is indeed a pleasure to be speaking to you today. And the topic is all thanks to you. We chose was a woman's resilience journey from the white coat to the transplant ward and back again. Welcome, audience, and welcome, ma'am, to this episode. And again, a quick question. Since we had, Dr. Mona, I want to thank Dr. Mona for having us introduced and call you here for the Hexalog. So, how did you feel when you heard about our invitation to the Vibe Life Hexalog?
Yeah, thanks, Ritu. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. And first of all, let me tell you that I'm very, very honored to be here. And you all are as great as achievers as I am. So I'm really, really proud of all of you and the initiative you all have taken. So when Dr. Mona introduced me to this, I was a little anxious first, but she's been always telling me that you should share your journey with everyone so that people learn more about it. So she had motivated me to write an article, which I had shared with you. And then
Yes.
I've done a lot of other programs, like ramp walks and all, just
Yes.
to share my journey.
Raise
So
your
I am
hands.
very, very happy to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. So, dear audience, let's hold your hearts together and move on to the first segment with Dr. Kavita Rane. Kavita, all over to you.
Thanks, Dr. Ritu. So, good afternoon once again, ma'am. And let's move on to the first segment. This is the girl before the star. You are a doctor, a leader, a mother, a wife, an artist, and a woman with dreams. But today, we celebrate the woman with resilience who has not only changed the narrative for herself, but is also set on a mission to change the world through her actions. This segment is focused on knowing you. So, can you please walk us through how was that young Shilpa as a little girl growing up? What were your hobbies, your favorite subject, your favorite game, etc.? Whatever you
Wow.
wish to share.
Wow, what a question. Anyway, so the young Shilpa was, I can say, a shy little chubby girl who grew up in a chawl system, so had good values, fortunately, and studied in a Parsi school, a very nice Parsi school. So that's where my art sense developed, because you know how Parsis are so good at all the arts like crochet, knitting, embroidery, and also I loved all that. And as for my hobby, I love photography. I have done a couple of courses with the Pillai School and all for photography, manual photography. Unfortunately, now manual cameras are extinct, but still, I used to love photography. So, and I have a very good memory as a child. My dad, who's a doctor, he had got a gift of a wonderful memory game with nice, colorful pictures of birds and flowers and all. So we would sleep on the floor, all four of us, me, my parents, and my young brother, and we would open up the memory game and play it and really, really enjoy. So that was my favorite memory of childhood and my favorite game.
And you had any favorite subject as well growing up? Or is that
Fortunately, I was good at academics, so I used to like biology, a part of biology,
yeah.
not botany for sure, but biology. And my dad was very good at mathematics, so I was good at mathematics too. I can say biology
Yeah.
was my favorite subject. I can
Nice.
easily say what my most unfavorite subject was, geography. I remember ratifying the whole book from page to page.
Okay. Wow. That's lovely to know, ma'am. So tell us how your life directed you towards medicine. Was becoming a doctor always your dream, or besides, what made you choose obs and gynae?
So, as you know, in our days, we didn't have too many career options. It was either medicine or engineering. Now there's a whole variety of options. But for me, it was always medicine. Firstly, because my dad was a doctor, he was my hero. And the
Yeah.
kind of respect and the kind of work, and the kind of charity work he did, and all the goodwill he had, I was always wanting that respect. And I thought, that time medical profession was really, really called a noble profession, unlike these days again. But my dad was my
Yeah.
hero, and I was very motivated to do medicine. As
Wow.
far as OBGY concerns, I don't remember exactly when it started, but I do remember my first ever talk, self-talk in first MBBS was on amniotic fluid. Now, how I chose that, I don't know,
Mhm.
but I loved that book also. I loved the Williams,
Yeah.
and I once we were doing clinics and all, what motivated me in OBGYN were the happy mothers, the happy children, whereas medicine and surgery was full of a little sick and grumpy patients. So I think the happy mothers and the joy of bringing, even today after 35 years, when I
Yeah.
deliver a baby, I feel so much joy. So that
Yeah.
is what motivated me for OBGYN.
Wow. Very true, ma'am. The inspiration of getting a new life into being, isn't it? That is what gives you
I am
inspiration.
as nervous as I was in my first delivery till the baby cries, honestly. And
True, true.
because so
Amazing. Yeah. So you also have a strong connection with theater and performance. So where did that creative side of you come from? Tell us something about that.
sure. So and I said my connection with art was a little bit from school, and then junior college there
Mm.
was no time to do all that. 11th, 12th we were just studying. But when I entered medical college, the shy little girl had become a little bolder, made very good friends and like-minded friends. And then we found out that one of our very strict biochemistry professor, but he was running a drama club,
Mm.
a Gujarati drama club, and
Mm.
performing Gujarati dramas in KEM as annual day.
Mm.
So initially it started with the idea of like buttering him up, and then we just went and approached him. And then he said, get the funds. So just a
Yeah.
couple of us friends went out to all the consultants in all OPDs who were Gujaratis, and they very generously donated a lot of amount. So the professor was very happy, and then we came out with a 3-act play in the first year, which was so well appreciated, and
Wow.
I got the best acting award, and my role was
Congratulations.
Patients. So how was that transition? Because I know while you normally we as doctors ask the patients about the symptoms, the investigations, the diagnosis, treatment, but when you are on the other side, when you are listening to somebody telling you the same things or asking or investigating you, let's go through that. So do you remember the moment when you realize that something is seriously medically wrong with you? And would you be comfortable sharing how that evolved?
Absolutely, absolutely, doctor. No hesitation in sharing. In fact, now when I look back, I think I had the symptoms of cough and breathlessness long before it was diagnosed.
Okay.
While pushing a trolley at the airport, or while lifting something heavy, or running for something, I used to have a bout of cough and breathlessness, and I somehow linked it to my being a little overweight.
Yeah.
Nothing majorly serious. I was this thing. Then we were
Mhm.
staying on the second floor, and then we got a bigger house. So, not knowing that I have this bad ILD, we shifted to the third floor, which and that building didn't have a lift. So one fine day, one of my MD physicians, Ritu might be knowing, Dr. Gerwara, he had come to my clinic to see a patient, and I just told him, sir, I just feel like this, coughing a lot when I reached the third floor. So he told me, immediately go up to the third floor, come down, and let me see you. And the moment he saw me coughing and breathless, he said, go get a PFT done now. I mean, till then, I had never thought that I would have a lung pathology. I always thought कि अरे ये weight जाता है ये होता है इसके लिए होता है.
Mhm.
And I got a PFT, and then I met Dr. Mahashur at Hinduja, and then I got the diagnosis that I have interstitial lung disease.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of a shock,
Mhm.
and if you know, I mean, as when we were doing MBBS and medicine, ILD was a small footnote in
Oh, yes,
guiding.
yes, yeah.
There was no mention of, there were no HRCTs, there was no ILD mentioned,
Nothing, yeah.
nothing.
Yes,
Not
yes. It
that
was,
pigeons can cause such deadly. So me and my husband were horrified more because we had never heard of it. We actually, cried because I've got a disease which I've never even heard of. So what is this thing? But
mhm.
slowly I accepted it.
Okay. Yeah, that is, it can be very alarming because, usual reaction is that why me? Why did this happen? And medical knowledge also, we can either, that can probably make the journey easier because we know that, okay, sometimes there is a cure or something available, but sometimes it's more harder because you don't know, there is a lot of still uncertainty as to accepting that. And then now you are the patient. So how was that?
Yeah, so as I said initially also,
Uh,
Dr. Lotka, the first
mm,
shock was that I didn't know anything about the disease.
yeah.
That was the
Mm,
biggest shock. Then we researched
mm,
and we found out and all. And
mm,
I mean, at that time, there was no thought also that I would eventually need a transplant. I said, okay, it's
yeah.
a type of inflammatory lung disease. For some reason, my dad's clinic used to be in Kabutarkhana. So, and I used to
Uh,
go there after he passed away. So maybe that's where I got it and it will go away. I did not know it was chronic progressive. And
mm,
fortunately, there was a quick fix in terms of steroids. So I started on
okay.
very high dose of steroids, around 80 mg per day. So I was
Mm,
in a state of euphoria, feeling very good. All my symptoms disappeared, everything. So initially it felt, oh, I'm fine. And this disease is curable. Then after a few months, when they started tapering the steroids, I
mm,
went into severe depression.
mm,
I was always fighting a weight problem, and then because of the 6 months of high dose steroids, I gained 15 kgs and the euphoria.
mm,
And
mhm.
then when it is a known thing, when the steroids from 80 milligrams are
Yes.
tapered down to 10 mg, slowly, however slowly, I went into that withdrawal and severe depression. So
Okay.
then I was on antidepressants, I was on immunosuppressants, and I was on steroids for quite a long time. I mean, I'm still am in all these
Mhm.
medicines.
Okay. Okay, that was good. So, as doctors, we are trained to fight disease, fix medical issues. So, how was the experience to learning to surrender to somebody else when things which medicine could not immediately fix?
So as I said initially, it was a quick fix with the steroids, and I
Mm.
was my doctor was my own teacher from KM. So I was a very highly respected teacher. So that time I didn't really feel that I had to surrender. But when I started experiencing the side effects and the weight
Mm.
gain and more of the depression, then it was when I
Mm.
surrendered. Okay, oh, this is not a short-term problem. This
Mm.
is going to this thing. But for the next 10 to 15 years, I was on steroids and I lived my life. I was practicing, I was
Yeah.
having vacations with my family, I was doing stage performances, I was associated with KMA and Association of Fellow Gynacs and all. So I was diagnosed in 2005 until 2020, I lived a normal life. Only
Yeah.
last couple of years, I needed a little bit of supplemental oxygen. So that
Okay.
was okay. But later on, all the fibrosis advanced and the disease progressed.
Okay. 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 So fantastic hearing about it, and I can only just imagine, and I wish you, more power to fight the disease and move on and recover. Now I hand over to Dr. Ritu for the next segment.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Lotika. So, Dr. Shilpa, we're really, all years and we've been waiting to hear this because not everybody gets to experience what you've been through. And
I know.
it's great
I
that you
don't
have
wish that.
chosen.
I don't
Of
wish
course,
that.
ma'am, I do agree. But at the same time, it takes a lot of guts to come and share this because, like you said, that you were not aware. Forget about aware. Nobody else was aware. There was nothing, like you said, scientifically, also, there was no evidence, no probability to understand what this is all about. So it takes guts. And thank you for sharing this on such platforms and other platforms so that people understand it. At least today, we know what they're supposed to do in these kind of situations. So that's truly iconic of you to do that. So my segment here talks about the wait for a second life. For many patients, when you look at organ transplantation, we see ads, we see sometimes the social ads also coming up that you must do organ transplantation, but it is spoken more about as a medical procedure, right? But for the person who's waiting for an organ, it is definitely far beyond the words that we're talking today, right? It's more like every day you are living on a waiting list rather than living truly for oxygen, like you said that you needed supplemental oxygen rather than we all taking oxygen in and out without really valuing it as much. So my first question is, what does waiting for a transplant actually feel like when you're living it? And was there any point in your life when you stopped thinking that I don't know if I'll make it to tomorrow, let me just live for today?
More than like waiting for the transplant came a little later. Before that, I'll just share the toughest period was from 20 to 22 when it was COVID. Because
Hmm. Hmm.
but I think it's like spoke to a lot of patients, and because of no exercise, no going out, a lot of
Hmm.
anxiety and all that,
Hmm.
everybody's disease had progressed in COVID. I do
Right.
not have a scientific this thing explanation, but
Right.
from supplemental oxygen, once in a while, I went to like 24/7 oxygen. So
Oh.
COVID was a tough time. Plus, all my colleagues were volunteering, and I used to be such a social person, and then I was sitting at home. So that part was tough even before. And before again enrolling for transplant at Chennai, I was finally ready in 2022 when I couldn't do any activity without oxygen. Nothing means
Hmm.
all my day-to-day activities. That is when my dilemma was resolved, and I said I cannot live a life like this. I want to go for transplant. So our first choice was to go to the US because we've heard their turnover, their rates,
Yeah.
everything in India has just been a decade old.
Correct.
But let's not go into the details of the US experience because I spent 6 weeks there, went to two universities, but it was a lot of issues and it didn't work out. So we came back after 6 weeks And that's when I enrolled at Chennai. Once I enrolled at Chennai, Apollo Hospital, which is one of the best hospitals for transplant, lung transplant. The doctor is Dr. Sundar. Once I was enrolled, I had to, but there is a rule that once you're on the list, however, whatever is your number, you have to live in that state. You cannot leave. You cannot say,
Right.
put me on the list, go back home and I'll call you. Because they said even if you're 10th on the list, something is matching you, you might just get a call. So
Correct.
me and my whole family had to move to Chennai, a different city, a totally different language, lot of issues. Setting up the home while I was getting evaluated, my family was finding a home to stay, setting up the gas, setting up everything. So all that was really uh, tugging my heart, the guilt and all. And then finally we settled in. And then it was 9 months of waiting, just waiting, doing nothing. In that, the disease also slowly progressed. We just waited and waited. And fortunately, I had a lot of friends coming over. My family was with me. My elder daughter took a break from her Oxford Law School and stayed with me for that year. My younger one, who was studying in US, came down at every smallest opportunity she got. My husband was alternating between the nursing home and Chennai. My brother, who used to travel from drive down from Bangalore with all the things necessary for setting up the house. My cousin, fortunately, lives in Coimbatore. She's like my elder sister, and she knows Tamil. So we just had to. She being there was a big boon, talking to the maids, talking to the
Mm.
local people
Mm.
because they don't. So that part of waiting was adding to my troubles, the whole difficulty,
Right.
and of course, waiting for the call. And
Right.
to be honest with you, 9 months is not so long a period now
Oh
that you
my
see
God.
people
Yeah.
waiting. It's not so
Yeah.
much. It's only that the window, the transplant window is so narrow that one day you are in the window, the next day you're out. If you become ineligible for transplant, if your fibrosis sets up, or if you have developed pulmonary hypertension or anything, then you are ineligible
Mm.
for transplant. That is why every single day in that wait period counted and mattered so much. And I also made a lot of friends there. We used to call ourselves warriors because there were four couples living very close by, three in the same apartment complex, all waiting for transplant. And we became
Mm.
best friends and we would meet each other at their apartments with our restrictions, with our wheelchairs, with our oxygen cylinders and everything. So that was one of the best things so the waiting was up and down. It's just the uncertainty but today I know people have been waiting for 18 months also. So that way I can say I was lucky to get an organ in 9 months. It had to be flown from Delhi, my organ, but it was good. So
Wow.
that is this.
I'm every breath that I'm taking today, ma'am, and I'm trying. I'm usually a very dramatic person, but I really want to bring this out. That every breath that I'm taking today, it really values much more than what I did yesterday after hearing your story, because we are absolutely ignorant of what is happening around us. We're absolutely ignorant of how life can throw lemons at us. But the best part I like about you is that when life was throwing lemons at you, you decided to make lemonade out of it. That is, trust me, I'm getting goosebumps right now because I can
Thanks to
visualize.
my support, yeah, thanks to my family
Absolutely.
and friends, I could have done nothing. Even
Hats off, ma'am.
my domestic help took a train from Mumbai to Chennai, bringing all my stuff
Wow.
twice. And then he
Wow.
transported the
Lovely.
car, so I would have all the comforts. So it was a
That
home
is
away from home,
amazing.
but my disease was progressing. That's all.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just thinking that, it is so difficult to even think about relocating. We all have our professions, education, and then the way, your entire family stood up for you. In fact, that was my next question that, when this kind of a diagnosis happens, it is not just the person living with it is the entire family. And they have to stand up. And then that is how it takes a toll on them as well, and mentally, of course, like you said, that you were also facing that dilemma that, hey, look, because of me, I'm the entire family is is getting to, get under pressure. But hats off to you, the way you said, I was visualizing how all of the women were sitting together and still trying to share your load, trying to stay positive while you knew that, you're on a wait list, you're waiting for some miracle, for good news. Your, of course, disease is progressing, but kudos on that. So, next
I
question.
also took, I just tell you, I also took some counseling because the decision
Yes.
making was very, very tough. So I want to thank my counselor for patiently guiding me. Of course, my family did all the research and all, but my counselor really tried to make me understand. And then at one stage, the
Right.
question was that, do I want to live my life like this, or do I want a chance at a better life? And I think that's
Right.
clinched the decision.
I'm so glad you did that, because even the moment when you were mentioning that 15 years were good, but the moment those the years, the way you needed supplemental oxygen more and more, it was kind of getting dysfunctional for you, so you took a decision. I think that is where probably most people fail, and it's all about willpower. I mean, because taking that decision, also of course going out to the counselor. Today we also struggle being doctors. We always raise at different platforms amongst us, that is in fact one of the most important pillars for us also, mental health. That if you're not mentally strong, being doctors, it's easy, we tell other patients that, what, hey, go take help, get yourself counseled. But we
Yes.
don't really do that ourselves. And I must say that at one situation I was feeling very let low, and I remember Rukia calling me up and saying, hey, you're not seen well. And then she was the one who said, why don't you go and seek help? But she became my help. So indirectly she healed me at that point in time, and I realized that not every time you need to go to a proper counselor, but at least you need to speak to somebody to derive that strength and let it pass through, and you stay strong through it. So I think great point for our audience. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
bringing that up.
For the entire audience, please, mental health is as important
Yes,
as physical health. So please, please, please take help as and when required.
absolutely. And again, my questions are slightly tough, but I'm sure you've gone through tougher times. Do you remember, the moment you got out of the operation theater? We may have regained consciousness after some time. Um, how was your feeling after you regained consciousness? Could you take us back to that moment?
So after my transplant, I was shifted in the ICU for 3, 4 days. The ICU was a very dark, isolated room, but then because we were doctors and we knew how to serve
Right,
and nobody's usually allowed,
right,
but my daughter would wave out from the window and my husband would be said. So that felt very nice. But half the time I was too
right,
zonked in the ICU. Then we shifted
right.
to the room for 3, 4 days and then I came back to my apartment. And one morning I felt something was wrong. What's happening? And that is when I realized,
Mm.
oh, my cannula is gone. There's no oxygen. I mean, the oxygen
Wow.
which cannula, which I was living it for the last
Correct.
3 years. And like they said, no, ma'am, you don't need any more oxygen. And that is that is when I realized, oh, I got my life back. Like I can breathe and I can talk
Oh,
and I don't need
so
oxygen.
nice.
So that I really remember that moment. I panicked and I told my husband, Naresh, why is there no oxygen? And this sister said, ma'am, you don't need oxygen anymore. So
That's such a sweet moment indeed, because
I
yes, of
know.
course, because when you are getting out through the OT, and of course, yes, I mean, your body's gone through so much, and transplant is like completely a new life being given. So obviously, it takes time for the body also to dawn upon, and then the mind also to understand that what's changed. But very sweet the way you've remembered it. So finally, I come to the
I'll
most
just
important
share one more
question.
incident if you're
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah, please, please,
After,
please.
so after I came home and I was in isolation for 1 year or something,
Yes.
that we talk about as of now. But then the first outing, which when I was allowed and I was given permission to, I chose to go for a Gauri Darshan at a very close friend's house.
Oh,
And there
wow.
I met a lot of my batchmates and the love and the care and the way they treated me, gave me a separate room and all that. And like that's when I felt alive again. So like, oh,
So nice.
I am not restricted to a bed. I am back in my life. So it was a very
Yeah.
auspicious day and I said I have to go today. So thanks for
Superb,
letting me share that.
superb. No, no, wonderful. In fact, I'm totally sure that it takes a lot to express these things, because you're kind of being nostalgic. When it's nostalgia about good things, it's still easy, but nostalgia about these things, sometimes it can bring in the sad moments as well. So thank you for sharing that. And it's so nice to see that of course, I can feel that you said getting your life back without the cannula, meeting your friends, because yes, transplant can be nasty, because I've seen a couple of my friends and their parents go through the transplant in the house. So you have to, absolutely entirely change the setup of the house, because the patient has to be isolated, meaning there's just one person entering that room all the time. The temperature has to be maintained at a particular degree, and there's so much and so forth to do that it's not easy. So great deal
Ritu,
of effort goes in.
that was the most scary part rather than the surgery.
Absolutely.
The whole
Bilkul. Yes,
isolation
that's why
and
I
the
wanted to bring it up.
restrictions, because I was like, oh, I
Ji.
can't meet anybody, I can't eat what I want, I have to do
Absolutely.
this thing.
Yeah.
That was the
Yes.
scariest part of a transplant, which made me hesitate initially. The isolation
Right.
and the strict guidelines you have to follow. But
Correct. And that's too
fortunately
long
went
a
good.
period.
Yeah, it's
1 year
too
is a very long period. Yeah. And being human social beings, it's very difficult for us to,
long.
to
And then
anticipate that we'll be able
within
to say
within
it.
2 weeks, I had a complication also. My sutures gave away,
Oh,
the sternal
oh my
sutures.
God. Oh
And
my God.
and one of the wires was actually pointing at the pericardium, at the heart.
Oh
So
my
we had to
God.
rush to
All right.
Chennai. But fortunately, the doctor with a C-arm removed the wire and I didn't require another surgery. So
Oh,
that
wonderful. Thank
first
God.
1 year at home had its ups and downs, but I was
Right.
fortunate enough. I still have a broken sternum, but I'm okay. Anyway, go ahead, please.
And sternum wise, the sternum broke. It couldn't break Dr. Shilpa's resilience. That's amazing, man. Kudos to you. My last question, ma'am. Unfortunately, India has one of the lowest organ donation rates globally, right? Around
Yes.
0.81 per million population in 2024 is what I researched. What would you like to say about organ donation to our fellow colleagues and esteemed audience today?
Thank you for asking me my favorite question, Ritu, because this is what I strongly want to campaign all the time. That we have so many accidental deaths, road accidents. People,
Yes.
if all these people donated organs, there would be not such huge waiting lists. So, or
Yeah.
register as an organ donor. You don't know when, you cannot predict life. Anytime, anything can happen. You have to register as an organ donor. It's as
Mm,
simple as scanning a QR code and you're registered. And you inform the next of kin, because that is very important. In
yeah.
India, the consent of the next of kin is very important to allow
Yeah.
organ donation. So if everybody registers as an organ donor or explains that to the family, creates awareness. Unfortunately, there's no awareness. There are a
Mm,
lot of
true.
myths, a lot of rumors keep coming on social media. कि इसका kidney बेच दिया, इसका ये बेच दिया, what illegal trade, which is not true. Somebody would say, आज 12 kidney बेच दिया. What nonsense is all this? I mean, we know how the whole transplant act happens and how
Yeah,
proper the
yeah.
procedure is. And in India,
Absolutely.
we believe of afterlife. So people don't want
Yeah.
to donate. So I know many of my colleagues who've died on the waiting list. Some people have one person had said, oh, he'll get the organ in 6 hours, but the organ could not reach in 6 hours. And then the family decided कि अभी cremation का मुहूर्त आ गया, so we are not donating. Imagine what the recipient would go through. So that sort of awareness that how one organ donor can save 8 lives is what we should all just keep spreading, keep spreading. That's all. That's my main
That's a
aim.
huge message.
Yeah.
That's a huge message, ma'am. And we salute you for being the advocate of organ donation. As Vibe, we would definitely want that we would like to propagate this message through you in conjunction with you, wherever feasible, and in all our groups, so that we
Absolutely.
can be the propagators of good message and goodwill as well. So
I
with
will
that,
share all
thank
the
you.
details with you, Ritu, so you can
Yes,
put
ma'am.
them.
Yes, please do. Yes, ma'am. Please do. Please do. And with that, ma'am, thank you so much. Heartfelt thanks for your wonderful answers. I would now move on to Pranjali for the next segment.
Thank you so much, Ritu. And Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your journey. And actually, it is bringing, I'm getting goosebumps when I'm listening to you. It is easy to say, like, you're a strong person and everything. But those 9 months, what you have gone through, it is really heads off to you because you're really, really inspirational for many doctors and many patients who are going through this. So we would really like to have your video for our other Vibesters about how we can mental challenges and everything, ma'am. We should like to have more videos from you. So, ma'am, my next segment is about back to life. It is not easy when you are going through so much ups and downs in your life, and as you were telling, like your sutures opened and all. So when you actually felt like now you're alive, what did you do first when first uh how did you celebrate it first, that thing, and how is Dr. Shilpa after the transplant?
So if you're talking about the first year after transplant, Dr. Shilpa was a cranky person. My family can vouch about it because I was restricted to one bed and no visitors, nothing, a lot of restrictions.
No, but
But
I
then,
want positive side now. So once you know
yeah,
that
yeah,
your
yeah. So
cannula is gone.
yeah, the
Okay.
cannula had gone. I could move around freely. And then very soon it was 1 year. And then 1 year was a big, big landmark. And then we celebrated with everybody, my family, of course, close family. And it was a huge thing. And then I did a program for MOGS at 9 months on Women's Day to say uh, how life has come back to me. So
Yeah.
that part, and then how my first outing for a Gauri Darshan with my batchmates who I've arranged a whole reunion of the batch, so I know each and every one by very closely. So to meet a lot of people that's when I realized I got my life back. I can do what I want. Of course, I was not ready for work till then. And unfortunately, in OBGYN, I've seen online practice doesn't work so well. So I didn't want to do online consult. I would talk to some of my old patients on the phone, but I was doing other things. I was just sitting at home. I did a lot of artwork that time.
Okay.
I did a lot of, you can say, mandala, drawing, paintings, online classes, and all. So it kept me occupied, and I was a very happy person.
Yeah. Lovely. So, ma'am, when you return to your activities like performances, travel, and life beyond medicine, through this wasn't easy, I guess. And tell us one thing that has been a major change in your life before and after the transplant. Like, like we were discussing, sometimes we often take life, it's like taken for granted. Our breath, we don't focus. So, before and after the transplant, what was the major awareness thing in your life?
The first thing was the whole big difference was not the machine and the cannula. People had started recognizing me as like everybody would say, "Oh wow, no oxygen." People would say, "Oh, so transplant ke baad oxygen band ho gaya." So that was nice. And then I remembered when I wanted to first do a little stage performance, I was very skeptical. I was very worried whether I should be able to, I can do it, I should do it or not. And then I remembered my last performance before the transplant. We did an award-winning Gujarati drama on LGBT, where I played a gay person. And that time, my daughter was waiting backstage with an oxygen cylinder. So it was like every time I would come on stage, go back, take oxygen, come back on stage. So then I told myself, if I could do it now, then why can't I do it now? And that's when I started doing. So we did a group program with the KMA ladies and all. Of course, I kept the practice at home. I had very strict instructions for them that if you have a fever or viral cold, please don't come, wear a mask. But then I was back, like I wanted to do it. I said, I can do it. If I could do it then, why not now?
Superb, ma'am. Super. And ma'am, we say prevention is better than cure, but rarely are we able to practice the same, right? So, what word of advice would you like to give us to our audience today?
See, first of all the ladies especially is to stop feeding pigeons, please. Pigeons are breeding. Today, we do not see any other bird except pigeons. The whole ecosystem has gone haywire. And pigeons can cause such deadly diseases. It's their feathers, their droppings, their dust in the feathers, everything. Not only ILD, psittacosis, and a lot of other diseases. So we, even in my own building, after multiple messages, there are people who keep still feeding pigeons. So stop feeding pigeons, stop nesting them, stop watering, putting water for them. We don't want pigeons. It may sound cruel, but it's affecting human life in a way which you cannot imagine. If you
Yeah.
do the research, the number of pigeon dropping cases are crazy as compared to, occupational harassments. Another thing I would want for us doctors to know that please refer early when the symptoms are early. Take an opinion. No transplant team is going to do a transplant if it's not indicated or if you're not in the window. But let them start thinking about transplant if they have a bad COPD or a bad allergy or a bad this thing, lung disease. Refer early so that they have time to do physiotherapy, gain the strength, do everything before the actual transplant because physiotherapy before surgery is as important as it is after surgery.
Okay.
And that, I mean, you have to become strong to face that surgery. And lastly, this is like for us doctors, please cultivate a hobby besides medicine. I'm glad all of you all have a hobby because you don't know when you need to fall back upon that hobby, when suddenly your life would change. So we are just busy studying and studying, but it's the hobbies which help us go through the difficult phases.
Absolutely true, ma'am. And thank you so much for your inputs. And over to you, Dr. Rukia, for your next segment. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pranjali, and thank you so much, Dr. Shilpa, for sharing your journey. I think, it is just deep gratitude for what we have things around us which we take for granted, like, and such small acts like, how, so where we used to live earlier, there used to be like, it's a Jain society. So every day morning, even I would be like giving my child, a vati of the grains and tell her to put the grains, because there used to be so many pigeons. And I used to like, how she would run behind the pigeons and the pigeons would fly, and uh, so of course then that was the time when actually we read in papers about psittacosis and then we stopped doing that. But yeah, such small things, which we just don't know that, oh, they can cause such deadly diseases. And we are doing out of just pure innocence, and that can be so deadly for somebody else. So, yeah, it is. And your journey has been truly scary. Rather, it had its own. It was frightening. Yeah, you had all the resilience, and the family was wonderful to give that support, drop everything, and get together. That we need to fight it together. Um, so it's so glad that you had everything went so well, and now you are back. I'm sure even talking for like it's been 50 minutes that we are speaking. That is something which is a blessing now, which you can talk
Yes,
without needing an oxygen, without needing
absolutely.
support to have these conversations. So, ma'am, my segment is about the audience, and our audience wants to know something from you. So, what has illness taught you about asking for help? And what would you say to women who feel that their illness, their diagnosis, or disability has become their identity?
Absolutely, Ruby. I agree with you. And especially a very sad thing with women, especially, you people all are diabetologists, and I hate it when a person comes and says, "Oh, ma'am, I'm a diabetic." Look, you are not a diabetic. You just have a small disease, which is diabetes. Diabetes is not your identity. So please, I tell patients, do not identify yourself from your disease. But more importantly, in our society, women give a lot of preference to their spouse's health or their children's health, they neglect their own health, whether it's for financial reasons or whether it's for emotional reasons or no awareness. So there they they dismiss their own complaints, and whereas they exaggerate the children's complaints. So I want to give a message to all the women that you are the pillar of the family. You please seek help as soon as required. If required, anybody can mean I normally want always want to talk to the spouse when I feel that the woman has besides her physical complaint she has a little mental issues. In my practice I can see when a husband accompanies the patient is much happier. Oh, but when the patient husband is not there, the patient is with the mother-in-law. So all the small things, women have to learn to express themselves. They need help as much as the spouse needs. So seek help is what I want to tell all the women, whether it's medical help, whether it's mental health, whether whatever it is, seek help. That's very, very important.
Absolutely, ma'am. It's the whole, so I always believe that the woman is the engine of the house. If she is running on track, then the whole train will be on track. Otherwise,
Yes,
things get misbalanced here and there. Unfortunately, I think now more and more women are getting aware about their own self, but it is still more in the urban places, rural places.
right.
Things are not still in the same situation. And
Hmm.
I guess we feel that burden on ourselves that we need to be taking care of everyone. We are the providers, we are the givers, and we just forget that we also need support and we also need people to give us things. Oh,
and
ma'am, you
and
have
spend and keep 1 hour for yourself where you forget the family, forget the kitchen, forget the kids. Just keep 1 hour for yourself where you want to do what you want. You can
right.
shut the room and this.
I agree totally. Ma'am, you've worn many identities, a doctor, you've been a leader, a mother, a performer, a patient, and also a survivor. Which one has taught you the most?
It's a very difficult question because all have had their different roles. I cannot choose anything. Of course, being patient has taught me a lot more than I would have thought. But all my other roles are equally important. I can say that.
Ma'am, how has it changed you treating patients, being a patient once?
I've become more patient with patients. And anyway it's because of COVID, but now I work by appointment, so I appreciate that time. Initially we just I don't like people just waiting in the waiting room being anxious, so work more by appointments and listen patiently to their complaints. So we as a gynecologist, I'm not going to treat their illness. They don't have any illness, but they need a listening ear. So as a patient, I realized that small complaints and their answers matter a lot to a patient. How you address them, even give home remedies, give anything which makes them sound. A small thing some doctor had taught me once was write down the children's names. They're the mother's children, and you address the child by the name. The mother is so happy. So he would say, "खोपड़ी में नहीं रहेगा तो चोपड़ी में रखो." That type. But keep it, remember it. So these small little things, the personal touch is what I have learned. I mean, I always had, but it's much more before now.
Lovely, lovely, ma'am. Thank you so much for letting our audience know and have their answers. Now it's the last segment, which is the rapid fire segment, which we call it as a pulse of life. So, we are going to lighten this all up with a signature white pulse where I would want few quick answers which are instinctive and honest, and it describes Dr. Shilpa based on your zest of life. So, are we ready to go?
Do we have
Yes.
coffee?
Yes.
Karan Johar with coffee? I'm just joking. Okay,
Please
let's go.
coffee with the wine.
Oh, she has a coffee. Pranjali has a coffee in her hand. Yes.
Yeah,
All right. Great.
lovely. So, ma'am, a Saturday evening OPD or an upcoming theater performance?
Oh, upcoming theater performance any day.
Yes. one adjective you would choose for organ transplantation.
Life-saving,
Okay,
life-enhancing,
yeah,
life-enhancing, I would say.
lovely. One fact you want to raise awareness about in terms of organ transplantation.
As I said, just awareness about organ donation, that it can be done, it is not misused, and one organ donor can save up to 8 lives.
Yeah, I think that is FYI for me also. I was not aware of this. So yes, one organ donor can save 8 lives. That's a
Yeah,
huge
it's
thing.
like the cornea, the liver, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the skin tissues, everything could be donated.
Lovely. Ma'am, one place you would absolutely want to travel next, any destination in your bucket list?
More than a destination, I would say my husband is a trekker, a sports person, and he goes very regularly for
Huh.
Himalayan treks. And one dream I have that one day I want to go for a Himalayan trek with him where I can manage. Still, it looks a bit difficult, but someday I want to go for a Himalayan trek because the stories I heard, my children also go for treks, and the stories I've heard are like so nice. I want to experience that once.
Inshallah, one day you shall go for this, and we all pray for you for this.
Thank you. Thank you
Lovely.
so much.
Ma'am, what would you like doing the most on holiday? Back home, or you would love to explore adventures? When you are on a holiday,
I
what
heard
would
it.
you like doing most?
I could
Oh,
say
sorry.
both. I just love chilling in the room, just be by myself and with me and my phone. And at the same time, I'm not a very adventure sports person as the rest of my family is. So I will do some activities which are within my limits. Otherwise, let them go for that, and I will chill in my room.
Lovely. I think one thing which this whole process probably of illness has taught you is to stay with yourself. I think that isolation, we are just so surrounded with people all the time that, we don't get time to, or we don't think that it's important to sit with yourself and reflect. So I think you've done that and you've become so comfortable being with your own self and be happy about it. Like, I can just enjoy with my own self too. Lovely. Ma'am, a song that describes your comeback.
अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें है कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम.
Absolutely. This is so lovely. Dr. Shilpa's persona, one who plans everything or one who goes with the flow?
Plans everything to the minute.
Acha. And life just throws a curveball to you.
And in fact, that is the constant rift between me and my children because I want to plan every day. And the generation today is like they pack half an hour before, and here I'm going to Scotland after 3 days, and I'm already packed. So plan every day.
Nice. One thing you never want people to take for granted.
Their health, their
Yeah.
health. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Mm, if I could have a superpower, I would want science to advance so much that we can make artificial organs for all organ donations. So we don't need somebody to die for donating. And at the same time, we don't have wait lists. So how they've started doing an artificial heart transplant, I wish science would advance so much that every person on the wait list and dying on the wait list could be saved.
So noble. Actually, this is something which never crossed my mind. I think, yeah, this is something
It
so
wouldn't
different.
have unless I mean I've gone through it and I know how the waiting and I'm telling you now I used to feel bad about 9 months, but now I am still we have a group of all these transplant patients, and I know people are waiting for 18 months, and I don't know how they are managing all that.
Yeah.
Financially, at least we have the financial resources to we could have managed, but People have to leave their jobs, move to another city and all.
Yes,
It's so
yes.
difficult, so
Um,
difficult.
all of this was
Thank you.
absolutely so sharp, so sincere, and so authentic, just as what WIPE stands for. It has been wonderful speaking to you, and you have actually brought a very different way of thought today, which so being an organ survivor and what the journey is, and it's just been so heart touching to understand. Actually, I can't even contemplate it that what would have been for you and your family to go through all of this. We are absolutely grateful at why, for you to accept this invitation and to open your heart out and, telling us your deep, dark secrets and, your fears. It's not easy to share all of this. Thank you so much. We are truly grateful for this. And like we
I'll
all
just take 30 seconds to just express my gratitude to everybody who has supported through this journey. God, of course, my donor and the donor's family, the donor's husband who decided to donate his wife's organs, my team of surgeons and my medical team at Apollo Hospital, Chennai, my family, my friends, everybody. I just want to express my heartfelt gratitude to them. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. A lot of love to all of them. Thank you so much. And ma'am, each one, so what has been our learning through this whole vibe, and each one of us would like to say. For me, my learning was today that I came to know that one organ donor can save up to 8 lives. So I think, yeah, so this, and also, your superpower of having where we can create artificial organs so that nobody has to wait for it, and each one gets to live their life fully, is something which is amazing. And to cultivate a hobby, I think, yeah, we just get so in life occupied that we forget cultivating hobbies. So those have been my learnings from today's session with Dr. Shilpa Bhatia. Over to you, Dr. Lotika, for your learnings.
So for me, many learnings, but what's most valuable has been that to value every breath that you're able to take. Because, hearing your journey, I really feel that, like I mean, I can just only visualize, but how it must have been, the despair and, just to be able to take one breath at that point of time. But I'm so glad that you were able to get a donor and you are able to recover, and that. Another thing is, yes, of course, pigeon feeding, that is something that is really something that we as a community must do, because we don't really realize the importance of having these birds and the kind of effects that it has on our humans, and the allergies and infections that they can cause. Yeah. So next, who would like to go?
Kavita?
Yeah. So, thanks, Rukia. Ma'am, it has been really amazing this afternoon hearing from you, listening and learning from your story. And for me, what I learned is resilience. It is through and through seen that resilience and courage has taken you through everything that you went through. And the other learning that I had when you said, do not neglect your own health, that comes first. That is primary priority. You cannot delay, and you never know what chance you would have got if you not delayed and taken the first few steps, right? So that could literally save a person's life. So thank you so much for sharing your story today. Over to Dr. Pranjali.
Thank you, Kavita. So, biggest learning for me today, which I needed the most, certain things are not in our control. We need to trust, and faith is very important. So, I was just discussing with other my friends, like we have NABH audit day after tomorrow, and I was really nervous and anxious about the same. And this is the biggest learning. I know they were telling me also them, but listening from you also gave me a boost that keep doing your good work, but keep faith, and it will go well. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really lovely learning from you today. Over to
Thank you.
you, Dr. Ritu or Dr. Kavita.
Ritu,
Yeah.
Ritu.
Ritu.
Yes.
Ritu, this time we've given you last, so you can
Yeah,
complete
Ritu, your
with all
takeaways.
this.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. So, ma'am, we are doing this because I generally speak too much, and I try to keep myself at the end so that I don't sabotage everybody's learnings and then don't leave anything for anybody else. But I would definitely say that it was a privilege having you. There are a lot of things to learn from you, but three things which I would definitely say. One is re-emphasize for all our audience and for ourselves that whether we're doctors or our extended families, we should spread the message about organ donation for sure so that India doesn't have people waiting and dying on the waiting list. That's the first message that I would like to leave here. The second one, of course, the learning which I have from you is, staying positive in everything that you've gone through. We have seen people face, in fact, in my own family, I have seen cancer many times. But at the same time, I've also seen people who are, of course, elderly ones, be victims and, feel victimized all the time. And I feel that that is obviously a personality, but also the environment, the surroundings, probably lack of resources. I feel that today it's all about faith, like my other friends, colleagues said, faith and trusting that something positive can be seen. It's all about the perspective. It's the empty glass, half glass, empty, half glass full concept. The more you look at it from the perception of positivity, the more positive is what you get. Of course, we now call it manifestation, and a lot of people are making it as their life earning. So I would definitely want people to manifest these things. And finally, last but not the least, value everything that you got today, because life is too unpredictable and life is too short, as you said. It's all about making the most out of it. So with that, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Shilpa.
Just
That was so
just
much.
1 second,
Yes.
Ritu. Thank you for when you talked about resilience, and then how can I forget? I learned it from my mother. My mother was widowed at an earlier age,
Yes.
and she
Yes.
was
Yes.
living alone. She had cancer twice, but she was
Oh.
always smiling. She had two gynec cancers, but I learned how to be tough from her. And the saddest part is, I was with her all the time. But when I was in Chennai, 7 days after I left for Chennai, she passed away, and I couldn't even attend her last rites. I couldn't travel back. So a big salute to my mother for giving me whatever values I have today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That also brings one more additional point, which I forgot to mention, is gratitude. We all largely believe in gratitude as well. That today everything is about saying thank you. It's the universe which is listening to you, and it's the good that will be with you. When you depart from this world, it's not the materialistic things that you're gonna carry, but these moments of happiness, these moments of gratitude that are going to take you the longer way in the afterlife. So thank you for motivating us also towards gratitude.
Thank you very
So,
much, everybody. Be prepared for anything. Life can throw a googly anytime, but when it happens, you'll have the courage to deal with it. Do not worry. Suddenly, I never had the courage before, but it just comes. So don't worry. Everything will go fine.
absolutely.
God bless. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We
So,
just have a signature closing. Lotika?
yeah. So we always end with our signature closing, the W. You can join your fingers together, and then at the count of three, we say be the vibe. So 1, 2, 3.
Be the
Be the
vibe.
vibe.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so
ma'am. We had a
much.
lot of
It's
Yeah,
fun
really
speaking to
been
you.
very nice
yeah,
talking to you.
absolutely. Yeah.
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 Whenever you
Yeah.
have time, please record and send it to maybe Ritu or
Yeah, yeah.